Good Morning Gwinnett Presents the Friday Morning Mingle, the show hosted by the women of the Thrive Tribe, sponsored by the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. Check out the ladies every Friday morning at 10 a.m. as they talk about their real life as an entrepreneur. If you miss an episode, be sure to go to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com to listen to past shows. Sit back and enjoy.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Friday Morning Mingle. Listen, I'm not alone this morning. I got a full house. Last week I was by myself. I felt lonely. I was talking to y'all by myself. I ain't by myself today. Listen, y'all know I talk to y'all by myself every day.
All the time.
So I was all right. You know, I'm if you listen to the Good Morning Gwinnett show Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m., it's just me doing my thing. Just me. So hey ladies, what's happening?
Hello. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
We've been busy, y'all. This is the last quarter of the year and everybody's on their grind right now and just trying to push through and make stuff happen, and it's exciting. Yes. I was just talking to my daughter. She's working on projects. She's actually working on a project with her father, which is hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that's hilarious. Just to watch their dynamic work together is so. But what's interesting to me is that now she's grown. Now they have this relationship. Now they're doing business. It warms my heart because I know that there have been some struggles because we all got our stuff in the past, and I've said on this show plenty of times I've had daddy issues and she had hers and she's overcome them. So just to watch the two of them work together cracks me up. So we call her father Hassan. That's his name, his street name, right? So when she be like, "Listen, Hassan," when she says that cracks me up because I'm like, "You so crazy." But it's all good. It's all good.
That's great.
They're working on his line of apparel and some stuff, and so nice. It's about legacy, and we talk about this all the time. Her grandfather, his father, he left. Well, he could have left. Well, he probably did leave a legacy. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, they're on a mission to do their own legacy. They have the name and they have decided to join together to build their own legacy, which I think that's nice. Really nice. And for me, just to see them get together and be friends is a good thing. So, you want your kids to have a good relationship with you and the other parents, especially when you're not together, even the step parents. So, I look at her and I know the stuff that she's dealt with, and to look at her with both her dad and my husband and myself, it just warms my heart. So, and she keeps me grounded, y'all. Like, y'all can't see this stinking incense back here burning, but I hate incense, and she's always burning them. It's like, you just need to relax and meditate. I'm like, girl, you are killing these incense. So anyway, I digress. So what you guys got on for the fourth quarter? Because we about to close this mother freaker out. What's happening for the fourth quarter? How you gonna finish?
Ooh.
I know, right?
Ooh. That is a loaded question, but it's a great question. It's a very, very good question because I think a lot of times, people don't really realize, especially in business, the fourth quarter sets the stage for the first quarter of next year. Mm-hmm. So you have to be extremely intentional in what your goals and what your plans are. And it's not just about writing stuff down. It's about writing it down and executing it.
Doing it, right?
So it's crazy. For me, I have a lot going on. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous at the same time. So I will be honest, because I am currently being stretched and way beyond ways. And that's the great thing about business is that it doesn't matter how long you've been in business. There's always something new to learn. Yep. There's always something, different to do. And, you can get in your comfort zone because you've been doing it for a while. It's easy. You could do it in your sleep and you're fine. You could do that and be successful. But when you want to get to the levels that we talk about all the time and like that legacy you just talked about, you can't be average and ordinary. You can't just be status quo. So you have to stretch. And boy, when you start to stretch, some things are revealed about yourself and you're like, ooh. Yep. And that's pretty much where I am. But I'm excited because I know the end result is going to be a beautiful thing. And at the end of the day, I can't speak for everybody else, but I know for me, starting my business is never about me. It's about my family, my children, and the legacy I'm leaving. So if that means that I have to take, the bruises and the hiccups for them, then so be it.
Yeah, we were at an event last night, tech event, and it was a good event too. And there was a gentleman there. He came over to talk to me, and he had like 6 kids, and he's an IT specialist, and he was trying to get into cybersecurity. And he was talking to me about his journey, like what should he be doing. And I was like, listen, I'm just gonna keep it real. And it was interesting because the organization that partnered with our organization, which I'm the president of Built, which stands for Blacks United in Leading Technology for the Metro Atlanta area. So they partner with another company that's a training company. And they train people in cybersecurity. It's two of them. They train people who want to get into cybersecurity. And so, my thing was, I know cybersecurity is a great space. I said, but here's the problem. They got 3.2 million job vacancies that are not being filled. And I have a young man standing next to me, 20 something years old, who has passed the certification and put out 400 resumes and can't get a job. That's a problem. So I talked to I talked to the founder of the organization. I asked, like, listen, this young man put out 400 resumes trying to get a job in this space that he's taking his training for, can't get one. So why is that? So he went on to say that this, cybersecurity is an elite position. And it's almost like you got to pay your dues to be in it, right? Which to me sounds stupid if you got 3.2 million vacancies and people are trying to get in. But he said that's what it is. And I said, okay. So the guy comes up to me. He has 6 kids. He's trying to build a legacy. He's IT specialist at Emory. And I was like, look, I said, I've been looking at all these. I even went through the course that they give you for cybersecurity. My thing is, I'm not going to push something that I don't feel is going to help people. So I said, I'm looking at this from what I see happening right now. I said, I'm in AI every day. Like, that's where I am. I said, to me, if you could study and get your cybersecurity certification, you can run right through AI. Like, really. I said, 8 hours, you could be creating stuff in AI. He was like, really? I said, yeah, really. I said, you got way better opportunities right there. So, it's about legacy. And he was like, I really want to create a legacy. His kids range from 25 years old to 2 months.
2 months, right?
That was the range.
Wow.
And I was like, I said, did you say 2 months? I said 2 months. I was like, that's a big range, bro. He started laughing, but he was like us. He wanted to create legacy. He wanted to do something different, but he wanted to stay in the tech space because the tech space is a very lucrative space, but you have to find your spot in all of these things we do. You have to look at your business and revisit and revamp and restructure and pivot. You have to do a lot. And so for the fourth quarter, I'm looking at everything that I've done so far, and I'm quick to say, look, I made a mistake here. I did this wrong. I'm quick to say it because for me, if I say that, somebody's listening and they may feel like, what, I'm glad she said that because I'm right there. I'm right there. And, I don't know how to be anything else but me. And I know the mistakes I've made. I know that the things that I had to overcome, even this morning, it was hilarious because I was in a meeting earlier this week. And it was a eye-opening meeting for me. I mean, like, I was like, that's how you do that? And I realized I have a real issue with asking for money. And I have no idea where that come from because my mom, she would ask a homeless person for $1. Wouldn't care less about it. I have a real issue with asking for money. And I have to figure out where that come from because otherwise I ain't gonna have nothing. So I understand that about myself. And I was like, okay, I need to go and talk to somebody about that. Like, why? I'll ask for like a little bit, but I need to be asking for thousands. And I can't bring myself to do it. And I have to figure that part out. So, but I know that I can do it. I have to figure out why I don't do it. Right. Because people ask for that all the time and they don't think twice about it. They don't even blink. They say $10,000 and they're like this.
It's the mindset that we always talk about.
You have to figure out where that's from, though.
Yeah, you're just not used to it. And if we're really honest, a lot of where we are right now are bits and pieces of our childhood manifesting itself in different things. So if you go back and really evaluate, even though that's how your mom is, it's coming from somewhere, and the thing is, again, going back to being stretched. If you're not used to doing something, it's in the back of your mind, so you're not going to do it.
Yep.
And then doing it is probably extremely uncomfortable, like extremely uncomfortable. It's almost like you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this doesn't even feel right. This is too much money. But that's because that's your limiting belief in what you think your value is.
Yeah, yeah. It's always that subconscious stuff that just runs in the
Yep.
back of your mind, because all that really gets built, by the time you're 5 and 6 years old. We
Mhm.
don't believe that, but it does. All that stuff really gets built back then. That's why when you're in therapy, and no matter what modality you're doing, it has to do with that young child.
Mhm.
It's never about the adult person. It's always about the young child and what happened to you, or what
Mhm.
got triggered. And it didn't even have to be something. It could have been just something somebody said that just kind of shifted how you thought about it, right? Like you said, your mother always asked for money. It could have been, well, maybe you just didn't feel comfortable when she was asking, and now all of a sudden that just stays into your brain. You know what I mean? So it is always sometimes just a lot of work of just like we were doing our business, peeling back those layers. You know what I mean? To just try to figure out where that is from, because that's really what it's about. And again, with entrepreneurs, with everybody, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. Everybody has those things and triggers. Everybody. But when you do business, it just literally just forces its way to the front.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
I'm here and you have to deal with me if you want to get to this level.
yeah,
And dealing
yeah.
with them is the hardest part. You
Mhm.
know, my thing, I'm always confused which way to go, which way to go. I have so many things. That's always my issue. It's
Mhm.
never like, I probably could ask for the money, but my thing is, I don't even know what to ask for, because I don't even know where I'm at half the time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like what business I'm in, because I have so many businesses that I love to do. And I think for me, that's an issue. And I need to figure out where that comes from. Like why I can't just settle on one thing and ride that out and be like comfortable with that. But I have talk therapy with my friends too, so it's all good. And sometimes, but sometimes people can see different things that you can't
Mhm.
see, because you're so ingrained in it and you're just so living it in the moment. So, I think for me, it's just a matter of getting out of my own way and just saying, okay, this platform that I utilize has content, has things that are happening, and a lot of the things, even with like my job podcast, has a lot of the things that are happening that other people wish were happening for them.
Right,
And I
right.
have that. And I have amazing friends who kind of say to me, look, you need to look at it this way and not look at it the other way, and think it you can't make something happen because you have those things, those elements that people would just really really want to have. And I have to figure out for me where I am strong at in that space, as opposed to me feeling I have to fit myself into this particular mold, right, to make that grow. How do I feel comfortable? What am I passionate about in that space? And then I could grow it from there. So that's really based on, that's my last closing out my quarter, is looking at that space, and just bringing more content to the table when it comes to my podcast. And you know I definitely do have an app that I'm definitely looking at creating for the dog community, because there's some things that I definitely know that people could utilize in it, because I've been talking to them a lot. And so there's those are the things that have kept me back. And I'm gonna ask for the money. There's just whatever.
She's always been so. Judge and I have been partners for years, right? And she's always been very good at asking for the money. I have always struggled with that, like my entire business life. If people come to me and ask me for something, I'll tell them. But if I have to go to them and say, "Do this," 9 times out of 10, it's a struggle for me. And for me, I feel like that's one of my things finishing out this quarter. Like I have to ask for money. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna ask. I'm
you
gonna
do.
ask now.
You
This
do.
here's hear me out. I'm going to definitely ask, and I'm gonna ask for a lot, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
be okay with that. Because I had to make up my mind. That's what I had to do. And I talked
Hmm.
to someone who has a lot of money, right? And I had lunch with her. When I talked to her, she has a lot of money, and she said, this is what I do. This is how I do it." And I was like, "That's it." It was as simple as like it was. I was like, "That's all." And you make $40 million a year. That's the system. No, no marketing, no marketing. No
Right.
advertising, no
Right.
advertising.
But
Forty
see,
million
again,
dollars.
it's the mindset as well. I mean, we you said something very very to me instrumental just now, Georgette. A lot of times, and I can speak for myself that for the first and foremost, we have businesses, right? That in itself is more than a lot of people have ever had and will ever have, because they struggle with,
Hmm.
how do I even get to the point to own my own business?
Yeah,
The thing is that we take it for granted.
Yeah.
yeah.
We may not say that we do, but our
Yeah.
actions show it. because you cannot be in the space that we're in and say, because being an entrepreneur, you got to be crazy in some way. Because it's like, okay, especially in my situation where I don't have any other means of support, like who the heck signs up to be an entrepreneur to where the very thing that you need, which is money,
right,
you're not asking for.
Right.
Make that make sense. You know, so it's like we take it for granted. And we know that we have all these resources. We have all these things that we have done. But I think, in my opinion, what happens is that you get so busy being busy with the business is that you don't take the time to really be in a state of gratitude for the position that you already are in, first of all. And secondly, remember, we talked about this so many times. It's not about asking for the money, because you can't chase money. Chasing money will never get you there. It's really more so about doing what you love to do, and that compassion, that passion, that excitement, that drive, and that love for doing what you love to do makes it easy for the money to be attracted to you, and makes it easy for you to ask, because it's like, why would you not do this? This is awesome. This is great. This is what I do every day. I know. But no, you're so busy trying to focus on being in the business and not having an attitude of gratitude. And trying to figure out the next best thing, that you get lost on. Well, why did you start the business in the first place?
Why did you start? Oh, I was just going to say that.
Why you started?
I was literally just going to say that. Why do you start the business? Why do you start the podcast? Why do you start any of that stuff?
Exactly.
Right? And we lose that purpose and passion behind it.
Exactly.
Because, you know, we, like you said, we get so caught up into that. But again, I also think too, part of that is the mindset, because at the end of the day, you do get caught up in it. But I don't think you ever, it's not that you're not, it's part, I don't know, it's part being grateful, but also part understanding that it's valuable. And I think a lot of times we don't, a lot of times we don't value what it is that we do, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we don't think that what we're doing is valuable, because for some of us, you know, it just goes, it's so natural for us to do it that we don't think about. You know, we don't think about the value that really exists on what we're doing.
You know, the other thing too, I think about, and I'm talking about me. One of the things I think about is even when I started my business, all of them, it always started out with me doing that one thing, but then I started to add different pieces to it, and add another piece and another piece and another piece. Then it becomes this gigantuous thing that now I have all these pieces that don't even go with the core value of what I started the company for. So when I did a refresh recently, I realized there were just things that just didn't fit with what my vision was, right? And I was like, my company is a media company. That's what it is. But I was doing all these other things. I'm trying to service people, and it was working, but it wasn't working. It wasn't working for me emotionally, right? Financially, it was working, but emotionally, it wasn't working. So I would feel drained, right? Unless I was creating content, like specifically, like when I was creating the tax takedown, that was happy time for me, y'all. Like I would be sitting there, like, let me see what Carla gonna say today, because Carla be coming up with some stuff. So that's my space. But it was other things. People come to me for websites and flyers, and you know, because it was a media and marketing company. Now I was like, no, I'm a media company.
Right.
Use media. I'm not doing
and again, the money makes you feel good a little bit. It's like, and then it distracts you. Like, well, I did this and I'm making money, and so, but it's taking you away from the thing that you love, and so you're not making money in the thing that you love because you're focused on something else. Instead, you're frustrated. You're like,
and then you get frustrated.
Like I need to get the money. So now you're going back and doing all this other stuff that's keeping you busy from the main thing, the reason why you started in the first place. And so it becomes a vicious cycle.
Cycle. I'm coaching folks and all this kind of stuff. It's like, Audrey, you doing all of these things. And I know why I was doing it. It was because, you know, I got to pay bills. But then I realized I hate coaching people, y'all. I told you this years ago, like, because they don't listen, and it drives me insane and makes my head hurt. So I don't like coaching people, but yet I'm coaching folks, right? And they pop in, they stay for 2 months, and they pop out. Then they pop back in. It was like a vicious cycle. So,
and then they come back in the same position they were in 2 months ago. And you're like, this is draining. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
And then again, you justify it because you're getting paid for
You're
it.
getting paid for it, right?
Yep.
So again,
Exactly.
It's that chasing the money. And when I say chasing money, I don't literally mean that, okay, this is going to make me a lot of money, so let me do this. You kind of get caught up in it and busy doing stuff like what you did, Audrey, because it's like, I need to create all these different things, which is giving you the money. And then you're like, oh crap, I'm making money here. So maybe, because that's that other side. Well, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm not making money there. Not realizing you're not making money there because you ain't focusing on it.
You ain't focusing on
Well, I can tell you this: the one thing I've learned. I had a coach some years ago. His name was Andrew Morrison, and he's like, your website is beautiful, but nobody knows what you do. This was years. I'm talking about years.
Oh yeah,
ago,
I remember we had that conversation.
And I said, okay, so me and my mom, I could do it all because I'm every woman. I can do all of these things, right? But what I learned is I couldn't do it. But what I did do was say, you know what? I'm not advertising that stuff, but here's what happens. If you do it for one person and they like it, they're going to tell the next person and the next person. And you like, oh, this is my fee. And they said, okay. And you said, okay, I got to do it because they say yes. And that happened to me. That happens to me all the time. And I was like, I'm just going to have to stop saying yes to that stuff and just focus on what I love. So I went and I changed my LinkedIn. It's a media company. We provide media. We provide exposure. I did all of that stuff because it said all these other things. And I came to a real realization that this is what it was. And now here's the funny thing. After I did that, I felt so much better. I was so much more clearer. Now I'm like, okay, now I got to revamp my packages. What do I really want to offer? Because I'm not offering all this stuff. It just makes it clearer. It makes it clearer for you. And it makes it, now I have to figure out who I want my customer to be.
Yes.
Because that's another thing, right? And they go, you got to find your customer. No, you need to decide on who your customer is.
It absolutely is. Because you need people to be able to pay you. You know, and that's the other level of business, you know, and when you're thinking so now you figured out, okay, let me go back to the main thing, what I love doing. Okay, but there's layers to that as well. How do I want to work with businesses? And if I do want to work with businesses, at what level business? You know, because that determines the packages that you actually, you know, service. And again, it is absolutely okay. And which is why we say there's so many levels to this, but you got to first go back to the basics. Why did I get in business in the first place? And then start from there. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because guess what? People need what you have and they will pay for it. You just have to be in the right market to get what it is that you want to get for it. And it's not rocket science as we try to make it. It's not hard. It really is not. It really is not hard at all. And I can assure you, when you're getting clients that's paying you $50,000 and $100,000 a year, you're okay with it being a little bit more work and even the stress that comes with it, because they're paying you for that. As opposed to somebody that's paying you $500. You're like, and then they're asking you for $1 million things. You're like, really? You think you're gonna get all of this for $500? And again, no disrespect to them, but it's just about really understanding them, because a lot of times we do get pigeonholed in that, and it becomes very frustrating because you naturally want to help and give them that. But at the end of the day, most people, if that, they really could care less. They want to see how much they can get, you know, for nothing. And it's like, again, there's nothing wrong with that because there's an audience for it. But with us being in business over 30 plus years collectively, that's not the space we're in right now. And it is okay. And it is really okay.
I have a friend, I might have told this story too, but I have a friend, she's an attorney, and she told me, Audrey, I'm not working with startups. And I'm like, why? Don't you want to help them? She's like, no, if they can pay me. And she was she didn't blink. And she meant that. And I remember the first time she told me she charged $15,000. And I was like, what are they getting? She's like, they get a week with me, a 1 hour meeting with me every week for a year. I said, they paid $15,000 for that? She's like, yeah. And she had 9 customers, and she was living her best life because she was debt free. And she was just doing her thing, you know, and for her, it was about, at that point in her life, it was about freedom and doing the things she wanted to do. And so it wasn't $1 million, but she was debt free. She drove a really nice car that was paid off. She lived in a beautiful condo. You know, she was living her best. And she's like, I meet with them once a week for an hour.
And let's be clear, having $1 million does not mean
Right.
you have the quality of life just because
That's right.
you have $1 million. Because
That's
that's
right.
really what it boils down to. While yes, the number is relative to the quality of life that you want, but let's be honest. Let's be very, very clear. $1 million does not necessarily mean that you're going to have this great quality of life
Nope.
just because it's $1 million. No, it's not.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so for her, she may have made $300,000 a year, but that $300,000 equates to $1 million
That's right.
for the freedom that she has, for the flexibility to build her business the way that she wants to build it, for to be able to pay her house off and build those assets and all those other stuff. So more than likely, if you look at her portfolio, sister girl probably a millionaire anyway.
Probably so.
Probably. Yeah.
I do know that. I do know that
Probably.
she's like, you know what? I'm not. And you know, and I said to her, that's really cool. And so, and she was, when I tell you, but she was a stickler for that kind of stuff. Like she was the person. She's the type of person where she's rarely bends to empathy. Rarely. If she bends to empathy, I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah, that's a stretch for her because she's not that person. She rarely. It's like it is what it is, and we gonna keep it moving. And I know people. I'm just not that person. So when I see that and I know that person, I'm like, yeah, that's a bending moment right there for her because she don't bend like that, and she don't. And it doesn't bother her that she doesn't bend like that. It's that's who she is. And so I've learned a lot from her just listening to the way she say stuff, do stuff. But she's an attorney, so she's trained to say and do things, and she shared them with me. I learned a lot. I try to learn from everybody I come in contact with. I was at a meeting on Wednesday. And the person that was there, and I didn't want to forget this because I thought this was really interesting. She was telling us about one of the companies that they own, and she was saying how, you know, she showed us the graph of how much money they're making, and 81% of their money they're in the medical space, right? So when you think medical space, you think health insurance. So if you go get a test done, 9 times out of 10 you got a health plan. You go present your medical card, the insurance pay their portion, you pay whatever they don't pay, right? Well, 81% of the clients were self-paid clients. And I'm like, self-pay, 81%, y'all. And then you had another, I think 3% that were like from the doctors, and then the rest came from like Medicare, which is a very tiny percentage. 81% was self-pay. And I said to her, how do you, and they were doing great numbers. The margins was ridiculous. Like they were clocking in millions, right? Yeah. And I said to her, how's that possible? She said, because the person who started the company before we acquired the company, they picked the client that they want to sell to. They knew that this particular industry, that person would pay $1,000 to come get a blood test done, right? Cash. And I was like, so, and I said to her, I said, you know what's interesting about that is all my business life, I have heard people say you got to figure out, listen to what I'm saying. You have to figure out who your target market is, right? So people are running around taking assessments and all these trainings, and they're doing all these graphs. And she said, choose who you want to sell to. And she said, that's what he did. He's like, I want to sell to this group because they can afford to pay me this money for this service, and they will. And 81% of their clients are self-pay, and they are doing tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Tens of millions.
I mean, that's really what it's all about. One of the persons that I mentored when I was at the ACE event last month, she has a very successful tax company. And so, you know, I was having a conversation with her, and I'm like, okay, and I need to mentor you, you know, but again, none of that matters. And I mean, great, really smart. So we were having a conversation, and I was like, okay, so how many clients do you have? And she was like, I have over 600. I said, excuse me? She said, I have over 600 tax clients. I said, that is a lot of clients. I said, well, let me make sure I understand. Are those all your clients that you actually work with? And she was like, yes. And I was like, wow, I would never. And I said, this is just my opinion, want to work with that many clients. I said, because now you're putting yourself in a situation to where, especially during tax season, you are working 12 to 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. To be able to accommodate that many clients. And I said, you know, when when you are putting yourself in a situation, now you're boxing yourself in to where this is how my business runs. And so now I have to work with them. I said, if I were you, and I said this, I would look at my book of business. And I said, because we talked about what she's charging, et cetera. And I would say, I can guarantee you at a bare minimum, you can cut that number in half and make way more money. If you look at the book of business and make a decision on what you want to charge. I said, because I'm telling you, as soon as you increase your price, you're going to lose half of them. I said, but I can assure you that half you're going to lose are the ones that you need to lose anyway. I said, so now I'm not telling you that this is what you have to do, but to me, it makes sense. And so for her thing was, well, but I'm only working hard like that for 4 months of the year. The rest of the time, the other 8 months, I'm good. I said, and I hear you. I said, however, how many more years that you have to where you're going to have to work at that level in order for you to be able to make the money that you're making? I said, wouldn't it make more sense to have 100 clients that is paying you 3 times the amount over the course of a year? So now instead of working 12 to 15 hours a day during those 4 months, you're working 5.
Yeah.
And she was like, I never thought of it like that. And I was like, well, if I were you, I would. So going back to what you said, a lot of times when we start our businesses, we're just trying to get the clients.
Yeah.
And we get them however we're getting them. We're just trying to get our name out there.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
for me, once you get to that 5-year mark, you really need to start figuring out, because you've been in business now 5 years, what that book of business should look like. And it's certainly by the time you get to year 10, you should already have an established amount of clients where you already know you're not going to ever make less than whatever that amount is. And so then you build from that. But what happens is people continue to get stuck in, I got to make this money to pay these bills. And so you never get to the point to where you can be matter of fact and say, I'm only working with this type of clientele,
Right.
period. Because guess what? It takes time to build that also. That's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight.
Yeah, but the other thing too, Letitia, I think is important for people to know or people to understand is that it takes time, but sometimes it also takes other people to see that part.
That's true.
And to give you that information.
That's
because you are so in it and you just come from a certain space and this is what you're so used to doing and it's working. You know what I mean? For some people like that woman, it was working. And so she knew, okay, I can focus this amount of time on all these clients and then have the rest of my time. And for some person, that may be amazing. So she's like, this is amazing for me.
Yeah, because she's extremely successful.
Exactly.
Very successful.
But until somebody else shows them something else and something else is possible, just like what you were saying, when we talked to the woman on Wednesday, like we never thought about, oh, well, I need to just know I need to know who I want to go after and build that person. Because we're so busy taught about avatars and creating an avatar and who's this person and who's that person, instead of us just saying, well, gosh, this is the person I want. How do I get to that person? Right? How do I build my business for this person or whatever it is? But until she said that, we could have still been going in the same mindset, of things that we have already learned. So a lot of times people, it's always I always feel this way. And that's why sometimes I think that I continue to do the business that I do, right? When it comes to being positive and, creating card decks of positive words or anything, because those things I feel like I'm a messenger for somebody. And I think a lot of times there's a messenger for everybody out there.
Right.
So I could tell you the same thing, but until that one person that has that message for you tells that to you and you see a different way, you know what I mean? So I think it's a combination of both, that yes, you have to look at your business differently, but sometimes you can't see it differently until somebody else points that out to you.
And you got to be ready to receive the information.
And that's the truth. So you
got to be ready to receive the information. You got to be at a point to where, you're ready to do something different. And so you hear it differently. When they say when a student is ready, the teacher shows up.
Right, exactly.
I remember
That's the messenger for you, because everybody can share with you, but if you're not in that space to receive that message, I think you get messengers along the way, and that messenger is there to share it with you. Again, like you said, if you're not in the receiving mode, you still get the message. You know what I mean? But you just won't pick it up. Your antenna is just not tuned in at that particular point.
Right.
I had a conversation early this morning, like the phone rang, and I'm like, it's 7:30. Like, who's calling me at 7:30? So the call, and it was a member of GWC. They was complaining about another member of GWC, right? And and
What?
I'm like,
Right?
oh God,
What is that about?
I can't tell you on air, but I'll tell y'all off
Okay,
air.
I'm
But so
joking.
they were
So,
complaining,
okay.
and I had said, well, I spoken to that person before, because here's where I am when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? I've spoken to that person before. This is what I see, and they said I need to come and talk to you, but they never came. And I said, this is why this is happening, right? At that time, come talk to me. Never came to
Right.
talk to me.
Right.
Now, I was like, when I say that and I say what I say, I'm pretty much at the point where I'm done at that point. So they called me, they were so upset, and I'm like, oh Lord. I was like, look, I'm not saying anything else. I'm not saying another word because I've said something already. If I'm here, just like you call, they can call, right? You just happen to call at 7:30 this morning because you're so upset. So I said all that to say the same thing. Sometimes you have to let people know this is what I see, this is what
Right.
I think, and just let it go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to hold on to that kind of stuff. I be trying to go back and fix everything. I don't try to fix nothing. I told her I can't fix it. She is gonna have to learn the hard way. I'm not trying to fix it. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm glad that you're gonna get finished with it. I'm not gonna try to fix it because I've said what I've said, and
Hmm.
now it's up to that person to say, you know what? I heard what Audrey said. I heard what the other 12 people told me because I wasn't the only one that said something to the person.
Right.
Other people have said stuff. And so, but I think for me, I'm such a fixer and I'm always trying to fix everything and smooth everything over and make everything better. So people expect me to smooth everything over, fix everything and make everything better. I was like, yeah, I'm not. So, I hope you have a great whatever you're trying to do, right? Great for you. And then you figure out what you want to do moving forward. And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm never doing that again. And I was like, there you go. But
There you go.
I'm not saying anything because I feel like just like with me, if someone came to me and said, Audrey, this is what I see. I see you doing this, this, and this, and I
Right.
keep just ignoring it. That's on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a me
Yeah.
thing. And
Exactly.
so I can't expect somebody to come back and say, you did this again. And I said, I can't do that because
And nor should
And
you.
we
and
no,
I
no,
And
won't.
nor
really.
But
should you.
Don't
I
but
do
I
mean,
it.
won't. And
yeah,
that's what I said to her. Like I can't and I won't
it's
do that
wasted.
again.
It's
And
wasted
so
energy and
Yeah.
emotion at that
but
And
point.
but, but
it's not your issue to fix.
it's
At
not.
all.
It's the
It's
other
not.
person that they have to
At,
deal with.
at
It's their issue to
all.
fix. It's not
At
yours
all.
at all.
And we
You know
got
what I
enough
mean?
on our plates than to be trying to. That is not my thing. I'm not a therapist.
I'm not a therapist. And you know what's crazy about that? I said
I'm
that
a coach, but I ain't a therapist either.
at the beginning of the year, something happened, and I'm always trying to smooth things over. Something happened in my family, and I'm always trying to smooth something over, right? I'm always trying to fix it. My daughter is not like that, y'all. She be like, I don't care. And I'm like, no, you just just try to talk it out, find out what happened. She won't do that. And she said to me, stop trying to make me do that. I'm not doing that. And I said, okay. But here's what I realized. I realized why she doesn't do that because that's a lot
It's
of pressure
draining.
on you. And
Mhm.
she won't do it. So
Draining.
something happened earlier this year. Well, like in May, right? And I'm looking like it was so small to me. And I'm thinking, well, why would you be upset about that? This is me thinking, right? They were so upset. They left the state and didn't even tell us. That's how upset they were. Just left. Have not talked to them since May. And the old me will try to call and find out what happened. Can we fix it? I was like, it's all good. That's their issue.
Yeah.
If that's what you upset about, that's your issue. Here's the other thing. If you were that upset, you should have come to us and said
Yeah.
something.
Say something.
She
Yeah.
left the
Right.
state.
Communication is key, and a
It's
lot of times
huge. And
people don't know how to
huge.
communicate. And
Yeah.
not only that, remember, it's also about if I communicate this to you, then I have to be receptive to you communicating back to me. And what you
Right.
communicate
Yeah.
back,
But
I
you,
may not want to
but you
hear.
don't want to
Yep.
hear. Exactly.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
I'd rather stay stuck in what I believe and perceive to be my reality than to
Mhm.
be told that that's not the reality, because
Right.
this is what feeds me. I'm
Yep.
able to use this and be a
Right.
victim
Exactly.
instead of let's see how we can really make this work. And unfortunately, that's that person's character. That's just who they are. So no matter what you say or what you do
That's who they
anyway,
are.
they're not going to change because that's just who they are.
Well,
That's
then
who
they
and
want to be
and that's what
there,
my daughter.
and that's
She used to try to
fine,
get me to. She
at
used to try
some
to get me to
point.
understand that. She said, and she finally said to me, "Stop trying to make me fix everything," which is funny because my mom used to try to make me take care of everybody,
That's
and
right.
I had to tell her, "Stop trying to make me be responsible for everybody." And she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know I was doing that." Yeah, I can't be responsible for all these people. You want me to be responsible for your brothers, their wives, the wives' kids? I can't be responsible. So, but that's how she was. Like things were happening. I'm like, he has a wife. Like, what you call me for? So, and my mom and I had the best relationship, but it just got to the point where she wanted me to take care of everyone. And for me, I'm always want my daughter to see the other side to everything and, try to smooth it over. And she like, I ain't doing, she probably want to say, look, I respect you. I ain't doing none of that issue you talking about. And she wouldn't do it. But I later understood why, because it becomes draining on you as a person.
Yes.
Because, you want to see everybody happy and you want everybody to be okay. And when that person left, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore with anybody. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And if you got a problem with it and I don't even know what the problem is, then that's your problem. Then you deal with it. I got too much on my plate.
When you
I'm
do
trying to figure out how to finish out the fourth quarter happily. And I got too much on my plate.
And then when you finally make that decision, so much weight is lifted off your shoulders. You're like, I can't believe I was allowing myself to be in that space all this time. And now it's like, woo.
Yep.
You feel like refreshed, rejuvenated, re-energized to be able to now take that energy and put it on something else. But again, just like everything else, it's a process.
It is.
It is a process. Your mom taught you based off of what she knew. You're teaching your daughter based off of what she knows, not realizing, because we all do this, and I've done as a parent. Just because I think it's great doesn't mean my kids think it's great. They look at me like, I don't like that. That's what you like.
Exactly.
Your 17-year-old daughter, she definitely challenges me with that all the time because she loves those little Tweety Bird eyelashes and stuff like that. I'm like, I hate those things. I hate it. But she loves it. So guess what? I had to realize that, Letitia, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you get to try to put that off on your daughter.
Right.
Embrace, this is what she likes.
This is what she
is. Just help her to now wear it to where it looks natural, it looks good, and deal with her from that perspective.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I used to look at her like, you look crazy as heck. I don't like that. Mommy, really? Okay, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Well, I tell you, parenting should, put us in the space of negotiating, right? I mean,
exactly.
And and getting us to step back and say, okay, we cannot fix everything.
Exactly.
A parent or a person, right? Yeah. We can't always agree, but we can agree to disagree and be okay with that. And again, you still have to communicate with your children. Right. Doesn't make a difference, right? Because at the end of the day, we want them to be to grow up and have a life and do things that they love. Yet, part of us wants to be able to control a lot of that, and that is just the way it is to a parent. That's just
it is because we know what the outside.
We know sometimes the outcome of some of those things, right?
Exactly.
Again, experience is always the best teacher. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like. It's like you can listen to hear, okay, and then you do it. You're like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. The hardest thing for a parent is to see your child on fire burning.
I know.
All you can do is just sit there and be like, but you're the innate person. You're ready to go ahead and cover them and put that fire out.
Yep.
But it's like,
but sometimes you can't.
Sometimes you can't. And that is the hardest thing. As a parent to be like, she's burning, I can't. But you have to.
But it translates over to being a business owner, to dealing with other people, right? To looking at your business and saying, oh God, I can't fix this right now, right? Or watching it burn. Sometimes literally you're watching it burn, right? And sometimes it has to burn in order for you to fix anything.
Yes.
So I mean, being an entrepreneur is so challenging. But it does have its rewards, right? And it does have its beautiful moments because you are the one that's in control of doing these things, right? You are the one that's in control of making things happen for yourself and for your family. So it's always going to be, it's challenging because we're people,
Right.
Deal with other people. So it's like,
right. But the gratitude,
you do have to create your boundaries.
Exactly. But the gratitude of it is like what you just said. we are in positions to where in corporate America, whatever your salary and your income is, it is what it is. You're not gonna, most companies, you're not gonna have a conversation with the CEO and say, you know what, I feel like I should be making this, and I think you need to go ahead and pay me this. And you can try that, but I can assure you, in most cases, you won't. With us, we are our own CEOs. So if we say, you know what, I want to raise my salary to whatever that amount is, we have the ability to do that without having to get permission from anyone. And again, it's that state of being in gratitude, and excited and understanding the value that we actually have as being entrepreneurs. We absolutely can do that. And then for you and Audrey, y'all have wonderful husbands that's extremely supportive. So you
probably want to divorce us.
Some days.
they probably want like, I'm about to serve you, honey, and you about to be served.
Y'all been married way too long. I don't remember the name of the song, but right now they're like, it's cheaper to keep her.
That's the name of the song. That is the name of the song. It's cheaper to keep her. Yeah. Cheaper to keep her.
That's funny.
You know what's crazy, though? My husband, but I let my husband know when he was trying to date me. Like, I told him, I don't think you want to date me because this is who I am, and I'm probably gonna be this way till they put me in the box. At that time, I had all the flaws. This is wrong. That's right. And I laid them all out. And he's like, I'm good with that. So. And here's the thing, and I'm grateful. Like, I am grateful.
I am grateful.
And when I have my little meltdowns, and he knows it's a real meltdown, he comes to the rescue, because I don't have them very often, but I do have them. I have them, and then when I have them, they are meltdowns to the point where I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch Hallmark for the next 5 days, and that's all I'm gonna do. That's it. And he's looking at me like, what's wrong? Nothing.
Nothing. So that's the two worst words we can say. Nothing and fine. You okay? I'm fine. Like, they're like, I already know.
And he's watching me watching Hallmark for 5 straight days. He knows something is wrong because that's not me. Nothing. You want something to eat? Yep. Which one? I don't know what you got. This me. Then I see flowers and I see crabs. I'm like, okay. Snap me right out. But you know, that's a blessing, and for that I'm grateful. And I tell him that, you know, I'm grateful because he could have. I dated this guy. He's like, girl, you got to get a job. I'm like, boy, I ain't get no job.
That's funny.
He left me too. That guy left me. He's like, you need to trying to buy a house. Like, we could buy a house. We can't buy no house. You ain't got no job. He was a garbage man. He was like, I'm working hard out here slinging garbage. You talking about you an entrepreneur? No. You're gonna have to get a job, man.
You know. Oh, no.
And he stopped dating me, y'all. He was like, it's a wrap for us, sister. And he stopped dating me. And I dated one guy. He wanted to have all these kids, and I said to him, ooh, no. Ooh, no, bro. So,
that definitely is a game changer for me right now, because I'm like, I don't even want to date anybody who doesn't have kids, because it makes me feel like in the back of your mind, even though you said you're okay, you want kids, and
they gonna want something.
Boy, it ain't that not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
Me no want no more.
Yeah,
that's true.
My daughter said that. No more. She said she needs to date a person with kids because they need to they will understand, like, you can't just up and go do what you want to do. Because this one guy was trying to date her, and he was saying, you know, I be want to take you places. She's like, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. I got to go get my daughter out of daycare. So I can't date you. He's like, why? Because I got a daughter in daycare that gets out at 5. When we gonna go at 4:00? You know, you trying to go to Atlanta at 4:00. So I totally get that. I mean, listen, we said on this show that we keep it real and raw about being entrepreneurs, and this what it is. This is the Friday Morning Mingle. We talk about life as an entrepreneur, all of it, as you can see. If you haven't found out yet, go back and watch the last episode. All of life. And so as we move forward, who knows what you're gonna hear on this show? You don't know. You never know. It could be something else. But you know, we one of the things I do believe is that somebody's watching, and Amazon is always watching. Shout out to everybody on Amazon. Thank y'all for sticking. I'll be looking at, so y'all can't see it, y'all, but I have to, Amazon, the way you have to stream Amazon is streaming on the computer, but I have to control the stream from my phone. So I can see people that are watching, and people they always stay on Amazon and stick around. Now people shopping on Amazon. We got people up here watching us. So we thank y'all, Amazon, for always coming through and checking us out. By the way, the books in the carousel, they belong to us. If you want to support this show, we appreciate it. Give them away for Christmas gifts. You know, somebody has something to say. Somebody want to start a business. Somebody need to write in a journal. It's all right there. Purchase some. We really appreciate your support for that.
Yes.
Thank you, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. We love you guys too for sticking around too. But the Friday Morning Mingle, this is what it is. We talk about life as entrepreneurs because our life is pretty I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
you get to see us whine. I'm always whining. My husband said the other day, like, you've been a little negative lately. I was like, me? that's because that's a rare for me. I was like, was I? And I told Georgette, he said I was being negative. But what was interesting is Georgette and I went somewhere, and I think I complained the entire time. And I said to her,
for real, you
like but the person, they was just doing bad stuff, y'all. And it was just bad thing. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm complaining. That I complained the entire time. Which I don't do that, but it was bad customer service. So
even about the food,
but
it's okay. You know, it's not what you do all the time, but you
have to be in that space.
Exactly. Sometimes that's part of being an entrepreneur. We have our bad days as well. You know, my bad day that I had was last Friday and the Friday before. You know, dealing with a client and then the loss of my great nephew, and I had to go home to bury him and all that stuff. And it's like, you know what? I'm done. Dang it. I am just like so done. Yeah. But life goes on, you know, and so you just have to deal with it. And guess what? It is okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
Because I own my own business, I was able to get my schedule, everything redone. My assistant redid all of my calendars and my schedules so I could go home and be there for my mom and my nephew who lost his son. But it was like, can y'all just stop calling me? I mean, seriously, I can't take one more call. And then my mom is like, Mom, you know I'm at work, right?
They don't care about that.
No, they don't.
I got something to tell you.
You busy? Are you?
That is another thing, like not taking the entrepreneurial road seriously, right? Because people will call you and they will just start talking, and you're like, I'm working.
But that's our fault.
It is. Yeah, it is because I didn't have the answer. I really didn't have the answer. I could have sent a voicemail, but that's my mom. You know, so it's like I feel like, and then she's older that I have to answer because I don't know what's going on. And then when I answer, I'm like, can you not wait until 4:00 when I got off to tell me this? Now I'm walking around in a circle. My assistant's looking at me like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't even speak right. My whole demeanor changed.
Yeah.
My whole demeanor changed. And so it was like, I gotta get out of here. I just gotta get out of here.
Yeah. But because you do what you do, you can do that. You can leave.
Yes.
And not have, you know what I'm saying? You can make it work and be grateful that you have opportunity to spend that time. You know what I mean? And do what it is that you need to do, because nobody's saying, hey, you got to be back here in a day. You know, you don't have a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the good part of that.
Yeah.
You know,
it is.
All right. So listen, guys, we got the roll because we got another meeting and I got to make sure it's running right. So before you go, how can people reach out to you guys? Listen, fourth quarter is going to be the bomb. We're going to do great things. We'll be back there to tell you what happened. Like, this is the beginning of the fourth. Is it the beginning of the fourth?
October will be the beginning. So this is leading into that.
Leading into the fourth,
a lot is getting ready to take place the last 3 months. So we may come back and we may be looking a mess. We might be upset. We can't really cuss, but we might use some choice words that you're not used to, because the fourth quarter, in my opinion, is a pressure cooker. Because truthfully, we really don't have 3 months. Once Halloween hits, it's pretty much is downhill from there.
Downhill.
Everybody's on vacation. They already out at Thanksgiving. They already at Christmas and New Year.
They already in their mind. They're already in vacation. You know?
And just know, all the big box company, they're gonna start telling you it's Christmas early. As soon as October rolls around, you're gonna see all the Christmas stuff. And you know, I'm a Christmas person, so I fall in love with Christmas. I'm ready to put the tree up. I'm ready to do all the lights.
Lord have mercy.
I'm a Christmas person.
So just get ready, because
Christmases and Halloween just drive me crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That's me. I cannot see the Christmas tree after Halloween. Like, just like, oh my God.
Well, I'm gonna need you to just go ahead and just put your blinders on, because
I know that I done lived in plenty of states. I know.
So listen, ladies, how can people reach out to you if they want to work with you, talk to you, coach with you, whatever you do.
Okay, well, I'm not a coach.
So let's clear that up right now.
let me go ahead and put that out there
right now.
But if you definitely are looking for wealth management, some help in finances, then yes, I'm your girl to talk to about that. So you can always go to our website at Premier, and that's PREMIER taxga.com, or call our office at 678-557-4457.
Okay, if anybody wants to reach out to me, I am an EFT tapping practitioner. That's what I am. I help you with some anxiety, fears, and phobias. I'm also a podcaster, so you can find out all the information about me at dynamiclifeenterprise.com. And you can also get my book there, my EFT Tapping for Business Growth, which will definitely be on Amazon next week. So I'm excited about that. And yay, I'm so excited. It'll be in the carousel probably by the next time we do the show. Mm-hmm. So just dynamiclifeenterprise.com. You can reach out to me there, or Georgette at dynamiclifeenterprise.com.
And y'all know how to reach me. I'm at goodmorninggwinnett.com. But if you're looking to be on any of my media platforms, which I have quite a few, go to noisemedia.us and just click on media. Click on services. That's where you can find it. So noisemedia.us and goodmorninggwinnett.com. All right, ladies, this has been a plum plus. What let's pronounce that? Plum
pleasing pleasure or something. I know.
Whatever.
Just say
whatever. Let's say. Yeah, PPPPP. Yeah, we'll be back again.
I just know he made me Brown's son.
That's right, baby boy.
Yeah, baby boy. Yeah.
Next week we got a special guest, y'all. So Commissioner Kirkland Carden will be here with us next week. He's going to be talking about, the great things he's doing in the community here in Gwinnett. I'm happy to have him on. So be sure to tune in. If you don't want to miss the show, go on over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. YouTube.com/@GoodMorningGwinnett. He's going to come on. He's going to talk about what the accomplishments he has made here in Gwinnett County, the things that he has planned if he's reelected. So we're going to be happy to have him. So be sure to tune in next Friday at 10 a.m. right here, same time, same place. We'll be back. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. Yes. And until next time, make it a great day. Bye, everybody.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Friday Morning Mingle. If you enjoyed this episode of the show, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite streaming platform. If you would like to join a community of women who mean business, we invite you to become a member of the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce by going to www.gwinnettwomen'schamber.com, or to become a member of the Thrive Tribe, go to www.thrivetribe.biz. Tune in next week for another great episode of the Friday Morning Mingle at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.